Anyone who's played Eve will know exactly how bad the autopilot is. The autopilot drops you 15 kilometers away from stargates, which means that your ship has to travel towards the stargates. This can take a long time depending on which ships you're actually using, because sometimes the ships are haulers, which don't move very fast, and that can be really crap. This is what it looks like when you drop 15 kilometers away from a stargate. You have to chug towards the stargate, and whenever you get within 0 kilometers, which is kind of not really 0 kilometers, but it's good enough, the ship will align with the stargate and it will zap straight through it. Now, this 15 kilometer thing it's a balancing feature. It's to ensure that there is some penalty for using autopilot, because if you actually just warp to the stargates manually and actually be at the helm of the ship, then you can get there a lot faster. So this is how you warp manually. Right click on the waypoint and you go jump through Stargate. This is actually 2 commands in one. It warps to the Stargate and it jumps through it, which is quite handy. I think it's a new feature, I'm not really sure. I can't remember. And you can see it's a lot quicker. So years ago I wrote a little script using auto hotkey, and the script moved the mouse and clicked the mouse around the place, and it would essentially jump through the Stargate itself. It worked most of the time, but that little box at the top left is not always in that position, so depending on the amount of text above it, that box might move up or down. The text changes depending on which system you're in, so every now and then the script wouldn't work at all. I thought it might be pretty simple to create a program that would do some image recognition and find out where the square is. It was a little tougher than I thought it would be. The first hurdle came after discovering that the squares weren't flat. They seem to have a tiny amount of transparency. Whatever's behind them affects what colour they are, which meant that I had to do some filtering on the image. So I went through the pixels one by one, and if the previous pixel was very close to the current pixel would become the previous pixel. Now I had to do a vertical pass, then a horizontal pass, and another vertical pass with this filter, but it meant that everything would be kind of quantized to be the same color. These artifacts originally gave me lots of problems if they appeared behind the square, but they mostly got filtered out with this current technique. The bright stars do still break it, but they have to be right on top of it to break it. So I did a little demonstration on a camcorder. The program displays 4 images. The first one is untouched, the second one's processed with the filter, the third one shows output of the pixels that have been checked for the symbol, and the fourth one is the coordinates of where it believes the symbol is. Like most image recognition, it's not perfect. It goes off a few times, there's a few false positives, but it's right a lot of the time, which is exactly what matters. I'm going to try here with some of the anomalies I was talking about, and the star, you can see that the star breaks it completely. But that's okay. If it doesn't find coordinates, it won't do any clicking. It works in the anomalies now. It didn't for a long time until I figured the exact filter to use. Here's just another quick demonstration of the trace. If there's nothing there, the trace covers the whole screen because it didn't find anything. So let's measure the impact of the program. Let's compare it to the actual autopilot built into the game. So give or take, the autopilot took 5 minutes. So let's try it with the program.